Welcome everybody to the MaYHeM Original. This is our inaugural episode where we're going to talk about the world of wrestling. AEW, WWE, WCW, pretty much all of it, TNA. I am your host, JD. My co-host, Master of Merc. Our senior sports correspondent, Mizpah.
Hey, y'all.
And we have here with us J-Man, who is my brother and is also very good on the sports commentating as well. We just didn't give him the official title. We gave it to Mizpah. We'll come up with a different title.
They deserve it.
Senior executive correspondent or something like that.
Yes. Now the first thing we're going to talk about is a Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Yeah, total titles are fun. I do it just for fun. It's fun.
I'm just talking at you.
We're going to put together a new Mount Rushmore before we get to covering some of the companies and some of the action of today. We are going to select 2 single stars, a tag team, and a stable.
What's a stable?
It's going to be a
stable,
very
like a group of wrestlers.
Okay.
It's a very packed Mount Rushmore. We're going to be paying the sculptors a lot of money.
Yes, and I hope to have some visuals up as well. So hopefully there will be some wrestler pictures on the screen as well when they're watching
this. Stepping up the game, I like it.
Yes, so now the criteria
here at MaYHeM Originals. This is premium content y'all are getting, so pay attention.
And share it out. Don't forget to share it out.
That's right.
Marcus Fredrickson handles the
music.
Hit
that like, hit that fucking subscribe button. Tell your friends.
Share it out. And share it out.
Watch the language?
Why? No, we don't have to watch
We put the explicit tag on.
It's on everything. 18
This is
plus.
for adults, my friend. We're not telling. If you're a kid, get the hell out of here. Or you're really cool for listening.
Parental guidance strongly suggested. Strongly suggested.
Strongly suggested.
The criteria for the Mount Rushmore is going to be longevity, championships, character evolution, such as maybe evolving their character or changing from a face to a heel, good guy to a bad guy, for anybody who doesn't know what face and heel means. Charisma, and any kind of unique achievements that they may have had, such as pay-per-view events or appearances, title runs, or specific unique matches that they've had. So we're all going to, J-Man here is just going to commentate on some of this. He did not put together one. He's not as big of a wrestling fan as we still are. But he was a big fan. He was a big fan though in the 90s when we were all started watching wrestling and were big wrestling fans. Josh was a fan as well. Rey Mysterio Jr. was always his wrestler of choice. And the cruiserweights, right?
I got the mask.
You like to say it. Tell him that you got the mask.
Well, I have the mask. I should have wore it.
That would have been a good idea. Would have been smart.
Whatever.
That's okay. But yeah, so we're going to put together a Mount Rushmore here off the criteria I said. Who wants to go first? Let's go Merc. Merc first.
Oh, me first?
Yeah,
I thought we were going to... I was ready for you to start it off first because...
You want me to start it off?
I'll start it off first. I got to start it off with someone who I thought would be on yours who's not, but I see we're picking with our hearts instead of our minds today, Gunner, which is something that you are very much prone to do. And
my stats hold up.
No, your stats might hold up, but they don't hold up well enough. Ric fucking Flair. How come Ric Flair is not on your list?
Because he...
Woo!
Well, we're going to...
How come Ric Flair is not on your list?
Listen, I don't want to...
The most decorated wrestler in history?
I don't want to jump ahead.
The most decorated wrestler in the history.
The 4 Horsemen I have as my stable.
Well, that's just wrong.
That's the other thing. If we have somebody on as like a stable or a tag team, then we don't put them on as the singles. Like only one, they go on the Mount Rushmore once. So
that's an asterisk.
That's a hard is with my stable.
Absolutely no.
Ric Flair is with my stable.
Is beyond being the stable. Ric Flair deserves his own monument, his own big face right on the side of the mountain.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I prefer to have him with the 4 Horsemen.
That's just recognized by the WWE.
16.
Woo!
16.
How many times?
Woo!
How many times was he the World Tag Team Champion with Arn Anderson? How many different agencies? NWA, WCW, WWE.
Incidentally,
23 times.
Right now, he's still to this day doing things for AAA down in Mexico. Like
let's cover some of Ric Flair's stats, even though we were going to go over them when I got to the 4 Horsemen. But and this is fine.
Putting him in with the 4 Horsemen.
Merc has absolutely every right to put him on just individually. Ric Flair's career is deserving of it, but I didn't want to put him on twice. So I put him on with the 4 Horsemen, and we'll get to why I chose them as my stable
also
selection.
One of my single picks.
Yeah, he is one of your singles picks.
Completely disagree with your stable pick.
So your first pick, Ric Flair, happens to be Mizpah's pick.
Mizpah and I line up more than once on this list.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about Ric Flair though, since he is on both of yours. He is a 23-time.
23-time.
Actually, depending on what companies you want to count,
All of them.
Hold on, depending on what companies you want to count, he's a 25-time. This is just we talk about the major companies: the NWA, the original NWA, the WCW, the WWE, ECW. The new AEW and TNA. The major organizations is who we're talking about. But if you count some of the smaller
TNA
ones...
doesn't exist anymore. You're talking about Impact.
Impact, whatever.
No, not
there's no whatever. I don't
No,
get to
not
say
whatever.
All right.
I do not get to say
Impact.
whatever.
TNA and
Impact.
Impact are distinct,
TNA
separate things.
TNA's... Oh, they separated?
TNA, I mean, it's like still the same company. and
TNA
everything, but
turned
it's
to
different.
Impact.
Yes, TNA
Yes,
turned to
I'm
Impact.
sorry.
It was
Let
a
me get that
drastic
right.
brand switch.
TNA turned to Impact. Is that when they split from the NWA? Do you
I
know?
believe so, yes.
That's when they fully
yes.
went to Impact?
Pretty
Because
much,
they
yes.
were
Because
NWA
NWA now
TNA.
also runs shows. NWA runs NWA Power
Okay.
on YouTube.
Oh, NWA
And,
Power on
Fight
YouTube.
Sports, I believe, something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there you go. Okay, so I got it now. Yes, correction. You guys called me on it, and we took care of that. Now, of those 23 world championships, he's 9 times the NWA world champion, 7 times the WCW world champion, including the inaugural champion. The first ever WCW champion was Ric Flair. Is a 2-time WCW interim world champion.
And he was the first ever and the last
International.
ever.
I'm sorry, I spoke that wrong. International world champion. That was when they had like stupid, those gimmick belts and stuff. When they have multiple championships.
He's not wrong. There were a lot of extra belts back in the day.
Yes, there were 3 NWA Mid-Atlantic World Championships, and he is a 2-time WWF or WWE. Actually, I believe it's one of each.
Well, I mean, I don't have the
world
stats
champion.
to rattle off like that. But
He's
Ric
also...
Flair
I'm not done yet.
is the man.
I'm not done
Oh,
yet.
don't come back to Ric
First
Flair.
person to be the WCW Triple Crown champion. The
Bring it
Triple
up.
Crown champion means he was a tag team champion, a U.S. champion, and a world champion, not necessarily at the same time. He is the 13th different WWE Triple Crown champion. He entered number 3 in the Royal Rumble, which he also won. That was also his first WWE championship. He is a 6-time Hall of Famer, NWA, WWE, Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, Wrestling Observer, and the International Wrestling Hall of Fame.
God damn, man, you got some stats right up.
That's
is
it. That's
gonna
the
be
end.
Stats
That's
like
the
this
end.
for everybody?
That's
I need to smoke more.
I can for most people that we're going over. We got stats. We got stats for people to back up why we're choosing our picks. And
Cool.
Ric Flair's not a bad pick. So
No, it's definitely not.
he's not. So that's their first pick, Mizpah and Merc. That is their first pick, Ric Flair.
And you went with your heart, as I knew
No,
you were going to.
Stats
you went
hold
with
up.
your
Listen
heart.
to this. My first
Stats
pick,
hold
of
up.
course, is the man they call Sting. Okay,
The man that didn't wrestle for 2 years straight.
longevity for character development, which is a huge thing to do for a professional wrestler to do, especially in the
Dropped
90s.
2 years in
He
the
also-
middle of their prime.
he also
Yeah.
did not-
get in a ring.
He also
Yeah, hop in.
did
Is
not-
what
you got
want
something
to,
to
man.
say?
You don't
You wanna say
got to
something?
ask permission.
There
to
is
hop
now a Sting Jr. in
in. Darby Allin.
Darby Allin.
AEW. That's what I just said.
and he's not a Sting Jr. He's
It's
his
a
own
Sting
character.
Jr.
No, he's not. Don't say that. He was Darby Allin
Definitely
before
not
Sting came
Jr.
around.
He's way, way
He was
awesome.
heavily influenced.
You
was
would
Sting,
like Darby
was
Allin.
Sting one of the
I know, I
people
watched
that
him
heavily
wrestle.
influenced him?
he's
Absolutely.
fucking good.
I thought you were going to back
Kid
me
is
on that
fucking
one.
good. No, he's definitely not Sting Jr. because he
Yeah,
was doing
he's not
this thing
Sting
way
Jr.
way before Sting joined.
Yeah.
Well,
You'd actually.
mean-
I mean,
no, I
he's got a
watched him
great
in
story.
multiple matches.
Yeah, he's good.
Yes, I watched him and Sting come down.
But
and-
you chose the Stinger.
Yes, I did choose the Stinger. A 45-year career in terms of longevity.
Who you picked?
He's a 12-time world champ. 12-time world champ, 2 NWA, 6 WCW, 4
fucking know you,
TNA,
man.
No.
1
No.
WWA,
No.
and 2
fucking-
WCW International Heavyweight Championships. He has more pay-per-views. I misspoke that. He has more
More
pay-per-view
pay-per-views.
appearances
More pay-per-viewings.
in WCW than anybody.
He's a viewer.
That's another T-shirt right
He
there.
is the-
Pay-per-viewings.
He main evented the largest WCW pay-per-view in history with Hulk Hogan. He is a 4-time Wrestler of the Year in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. That's like the major wrestling magazine that's out
Which I
there.
believe
That's actually been
ties
going
John
since
Cena,
the
right?
80s and
I'm
stuff.
fully aware
I
of
have no idea.
PWI.
Does it?
Kane?
Yeah, ties John Cena. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if that's right. And he's also a
Nobody knows
4-time.
because
Oh,
nobody can see John Cena.
he is the only person. He's the only person to win the WCW, NWA, and TNA world
I
titles,
respect this.
and he's a 4-time Hall of
I have too
Famer.
much to say.
No, it's not John
That's my first pick for the Mount Rushmore. The stats hold up against anybody. I mean, Ric Flair
For
is...
2 years in the middle of his prime, he didn't wrestle a match.
He did character development.
For
Also,
character
adding there,
development.
he classifies under that, too. That was part of the whole gimmick.
2 years he didn't wrestle a match.
That was part
in the
of
middle
gimmick.
of his prime.
That was the part of his whole gimmick. That was part of the gimmick. That's something
So
major
who
to do.
is
That
on
takes
top of
dedication.
this shenanigans?
Well, we don't have to come to a decision. We're not making an individual.
Yeah,
We're
it's
all
it's
giving
not like
our
we're
all.
going to have like a battle royal or anything like that.
Yeah,
We're just
it's not
giving
like
our
we're going to
opinions.
fight each other here.
I was just coming in the
I
middle
mean, because
just
my
to
stats
see.
would obviously defeat Stinger's stats. Like,
I mean,
I
obviously
agree.
there's-
But I
there's-
have Ric Flair on as the Four Horsemen, so I don't put him on. I'm not
see,
putting
and I
people
disagree
on
with that.
twice.
I don't think if we're picking one stable, I don't think we pick. I don't think we pick Four
Then
Horsemen.
wait-
But hey,
wait
stick
till we
around
get-
for that
exactly.
content because we're not there yet.
The
baby.
stable one's gonna be
Second
one
pick.
for real.
Second pick. I'm bringing it up.
Good.
I'm bringing it up
Good.
right in the middle of the
Good.
table.
Do it.
Right there, I'm putting it. You can't deny me. You can't turn me down. Shawn motherfucking Michaels.
Oh my goodness. Yes,
Shawn
I can.
motherfucking Michaels. Four-time WWE, WWF World Champion. Intercontinental Champion. Changed the game with the very first ever ladder match versus Razor Ramon. Changed the game. Changed the
does
way
have a point
WrestleMania is as a fact. He was the very, very
the same
first
word there.
Grand Slam champion. You're talking
Yeah,
career
with the European
European
championship.
championship
Yeah.
in there. The tag team belt, not only with Diesel, but also with Triple H. Inventing DX. Taking it further with DX in China. Innovating, changing the game of wrestling, bringing it into a more adult, more mainstream way. As much as Stone Cold Steve Austin was there and was going, Shawn Michaels paved the way for Stone Cold to be the character of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Without Shawn Michaels, you do not have Stone Cold Steve Austin. Without Shawn Michaels v. Bret Hart, you don't get Stone Cold Steve Austin in his prime. Without Shawn, you want to talk about character development? Going back
been
for
around
a face,
as long as Shawn
a
Michaels.
heel, yes, but I think the Attitude Era doesn't kick off without Shawn Michaels. The Attitude Era doesn't go to the heights that it goes without Shawn Michaels. You want to talk about character development from a face to a heel, back and forth between a good guy, a bad guy. His work with the Rockers and his work doing the greatest heel turn of all time on the Butcher set, sending through the glass and everything. Greatest heel turn of all time. His work with Scary Sherry, working it up as a heel turn. His work with Diesel, absolutely. Shawn Michaels cannot be denied. Right there beside Ric Flair.
All right,
we're picking two singles characters. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, right
I
next
don't
to
have a
each
problem
other.
with Ric Flair. In fact, Ric Flair's on my Mount Rushmore too. He's just there with the other horsemen. But let's go with. Hold on, J-Man has got to say something here. J-Man, you got something to say about Merck's pick here?
He wants to talk about Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn mother
Heartbreak
Michaels.
Kid.
The Heartbreak Kid.
Shawn
the
Michaels.
chin. The
Sweet chin
shooting.
music. Yeah.
The sweet chin.
The
music.
killer.
Absolute killer.
The foot to the chin right here.
Bam.
In this area,
Right there.
he goes to sleep.
Warming up the band.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm warming up the band.
Good night.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're going right to
Undertaker.
sleep.
A great world
Triple
champion.
H.
No,
a
no,
laundry
no.
list.
Let me
Mr.
talk.
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Calm down.
It's J-Man's turn. Let him get it out.
He's all about Shawn Michaels. I agree fully. He's the, what do you call it? The foot or the...
Sweet chin music.
No, your whole base thing right now.
Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, Mount
Oh,
fucking
you
Rushmore.
agree that Shawn Michaels should be on it?
What, can I finish?
That's what I was asking you a question.
Shawn Michaels. Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
And we're going off what you said. Everything he says, sweet chin music, that sweet foot.
I
love
no,
it.
I
All
disagree.
the
One of the greatest
combinations.
finishes in history.
Just let me finish.
Yeah, okay.
What happened when he hooked up with Goldberg?
Did they ever
Nothing.
hook
They
up?
never fought?
The Breeze, please, we need,
Yeah,
we need
they
to look
didn't
up Shawn
fight.
Michaels and Goldberg ever fighting or tag
They
wrestling.
Definitely
They tag
never
wrestled. Are you kidding me?
I don't know.
Are you doubting me?
I'm going to get the Breeze
Yes.
for confirmation.
Yes, I'm doubting you.
I don't have that stat. That's something
Different
I don't
companies,
have,
my
so we're
homie.
going to look it up.
And by the
It's not
time
about not
Goldberg
believing
came
you.
back-
It's about I don't have the stat
They
in
fought
front of me.
together.
Shawn
They
Michaels,
didn't.
Goldberg,
They did.
tag
It
team.
was
Did it ever
different
happen?
companies, and then by the time
$100.
Goldberg came back, Shawn
$100.
was already retired, dude.
$100.
Shawn's running NXT right now.
$100.
Goldberg's still wrestling.
100?
J-Man,
I'm not betting you
J-Man's
$100.
betting.
No, that's not what I'm
He
shaking
wants to.
on. No.
He wants to conduct betting.
100.
No.
He
Let's-
wants means he's wrong and
Let's
I'm
look-
correct as always.
Let's
will
look.
find
Let's
out.
wait till the breeze looks it up, and then we'll come back to
I'm
that. We'll
correct.
circle back around to that topic.
They tag team for very
Who's
short
your
time.
second? Who's your
very
second?
short
You
time?
could
Of
absolutely
course,
be correct.
in my opinion, you can't talk about wrestling and not talk about one of the greats. Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant.
Freaking Giant.
Andre the Giant.
He really helped pave the way to make
Please,
wrestling
help
what
me.
it is.
He's got some stats, man.
I mean,
He's got some stats.
come on.
Please help
I
me.
mean, nobody's denying Andre's
Over
greatness.
5,000 matches.
28 years.
All over the
longevity.
world.
28 years
gotta
of
have
wrestling.
Talk about somebody
You gotta have
who's.
something.
The championships is where you're going to make is where the argument's
relying
going to
on
be
you
made
right
against.
now. I mean,
Andre the
Andre's
Giant.
beat-
Beats
amazing
Andre
champion.
the
It's-
Giant.
I don't know
It's
what his
hard to argue against
record
Andre.
was, but I
He's
thought he
one
had
of the
somewhere
greatest
seven,
of all time.
7 or 11 losses.
One of the greatest
overall.
doesn't mean the best, does it?
I mean,
look
I
at
can
his-
see an
The
active
best
argument
in wrestling. Let's lay him down
And
right now.
look at his media presence. I mean, he did commercials. He did
Lex Luger,
a movie or
No.
two.
one of the best.
He
No.
was,
Princess Bride.
if I'm not mistaken,
Rey Mysterio Jr., one of the best.
One of the best cruiserweights.
Dean Malenko,
helped
one of the
again,
best.
one of the best cruiserweights ushered in and helped usher in brand new styles of wrestling that we experience in
Andre's
AEW
worked with
today.
Hulk Hogan.
But not for the Mount Rushmore. No,
and you
a
know,
cruiserweight Mount Rushmore. Those would be two of my picks right there. Is Rey Mysterio and
Andre
Dean
the
Malenko. Go ahead.
Giant. Andre the Giant
Guerrero
really helped
Jr.
other wrestlers.
I mean, you can't
Hit-
deny
That's
that.
a good one.
He was about wrestling.
Say that.
He wasn't about himself.
His work with Hulk Hogan absolutely helped elevate wrestling to where it is now. Hogan
Absolutely.
slamming Andre is one of the greatest events in the history of wrestling. It's one of the
Yeah.
very first thing that when you start educating somebody in wrestling, you go through the WrestleManias, and that's one of the very first things
Yeah.
you see in a WrestleMania is when Hogan slams Andre.
I mean, it's the slam heard around the world.
The history of it.
You're saying put him on there because of the icon, because of the way he was so noted by the
the way
world.
he transcended the sport, he did.
He was one of the first wrestlers to do
The
that.
reason I
Yes.
wouldn't put it there is the longevity. Andre unfortunately
28
died
years?
pretty
28
young.
years.
28 years?
I mean,
28
Over
years?
5,000 matches.
Yeah, at a time when they
I guess,
wrestled
yeah.
400 times a year.
yeah. I mean, I can't really fault your logic. I would not argue against Andre going up there. He wouldn't be my personal pick,
But it's hard.
but
to
I
argue against
absolutely understand him being your pick. Absolutely 100%
them.
understand.
J-Man,
that pick.
what do you got here? You got something?
Okay, we're talking
Andre?
about the biggest, the best of the UFC,
Not UFC.
Not
WWE,
UFC.
WWE, W, whatever.
WCW. The major wrestling.
Let's talk about Brock Lesnar. Shit.
I do have an answer, but I'm
He
looking for it
is
here.
not the best. You
Brock
think he's the
Lesnar?
best? Yeah.
No,
No,
Brock
no
Lesnar's
one-
not
ever
the
happened?
best.
No one has
He's
Brock
not the
Lesnar.
biggest. He's
Sucks.
not the best.
Josh,
that?
Josh is correct.
Yes, Goldberg and Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair, Randy Orton, and Mark Henry.
When the fuck did that happen?
Wait,
Wow.
wait.
Were they champions or anything? Or is that just like a one-time, one and done?
And now you're asking a lot.
Like I said,
Okay.
I mean, I could have
Wait,
been wrong.
wait,
I
what
might
was
have
that?
wrong
What was that?
sometime.
That's all right. Yeah, it's okay.
Dude, I told you could have been
J-Man,
right.
you were correct.
All right, so moving on. Let's cut this episode short. I am starting to get a little bit tired. The weed is hitting me, so let's
am
let's get
the
through this
shit.
episode.
Who else? We did our singles. Everybody did singles.
You didn't do your
We
second
had that thing
singles
we
guy.
had to talk about.
Oh,
Andre,
We had that
Nick did
thing.
His,
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
just
gotta
Nick
get
did
there,
his-
yeah.
sorry,
All right.
sorry.
What's your other single?
all right. My second singles pick is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I picked him because a lot of people.
I was right.
He was influenced
Give
a
me
lot
some-
afterwards.
give me
He was a
some
six-time
facts, man.
WWE champion, two-time IC
I'm not
champion,
looking- I was
a
just-
four-time WWE tag
It's
team
not
champion.
that big a fucking deal, dude. Congratulations, you're right.
with
They had a
four-
tag match.
with-
Dude, that was
Cool.
not even what I was looking for.
does this need to happen on?
Congratulations.
Does this need to happen during the episode?
No, that was
I
not
mean,
even what was
apparently-
supposed to happen. That was
He was a fifth time. He was the fifth
were right.
WWE Triple Crown
I
champion.
didn't want-
He's
sorry, I don't
1996
know what
King
you
of the
want.
Ring winner. New show. We're still figuring out the format. Three-time Royal Rumble winner. This is Stone Cold, who I'm going after right now.
No, another dude who completely changed the
Two-time
business.
WCW TV champion. Two-time
That I can
WCW
agree
US
with.
champion. A tag champion in multiple different places, and I think he's one of the most popular, notable characters since Hulk Hogan. He broke his neck and still finished the match with Owen Hart.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And that's a very valid.
The finish was very, very quick and very after that. But yes, he did. He finished the match with Owen Hart.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, with a broken neck. I mean, it was awful. It was terrible. You could see something was wrong.
Out of
but
there. Like they didn't even bring out the stretch or anything because they were still trying to sell him as the Intercontinental Championship from winning in the middle of that match. Like, I fully understand Stone Cold up there. Again, I think you run into the longevity issue. Stone Cold didn't have a longevity. That broken neck. Yeah. Broken neck stole a lot of years from
He was
Stone
active
Cold.
in the mid-'80s still, though. So you got to talk. I mean, he
was.
Still had damn near 20 years.
He wasn't wrestling
but you're
at
right.
the top tier.
He didn't have the longevity, at least at the top. He did have kind of maybe half longevity.
Again,
I guess,
that's
for what we're
somebody
trying
you
to
talk
pick,
about that after their in-ring career is over, the things he has done to keep himself relevant in the business, the podcast that he does, the Broken Skull sessions, the work that he does behind the ring with everybody, or behind the curtain with everybody, the work he does as a producer, that work is, I think, eventually gonna, like Shawn Michaels and Triple H, what they were at least trying to do with NXT will continue to be his legacy as he goes forward and continues in the business.
Yeah, I would agree.
But
I agree
again, I don't know that I put him on Mount Rushmore. I just
well,
don't know.
we
I
disagree.
completely agree.
It's cool.
I put him on Mount
I
Rushmore.
mean, very notable wrestler. I believe he's a strong honorable mention.
Strong honorable mention. I mean, just on the amount of merch, the money the dude has sold, the paper. You want to talk pay-per-view buys?
It's not our Mount Rushmore. It's John's Mount Rushmore.
That's very true.
Well, no, it's not my Mount Rushmore. We're all giving our own Mount Rushmores.
Yeah, it's
just debating them. So yeah,
that's what I mean.
All right, let's go to the tag teams quickly then, so we can actually get to some real content then. I'm going to go first. I chose the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, and something that I wanted to talk about with you guys, and let's get J-Man in on this one too. Why do we pick?
You're in on this, man. Come on.
I picked them, and everybody always selects the LOD. I mean, when you talk about the greatest, teams.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, I thought it was Brandon.
When you talk about the greatest tag teams of all time, the Legion of Doom is always in the conversation. But they have the longevity, but championships and stuff, they are not a huge in the championships. And I
they
selected
split up.
them.
They were not together for as long as most people think.
No, you're right. I have that. I
know.
I have that.
I know him. Yes,
Several incarnations of them too. They swapped out members from time to time.
Which
You have
incarnation
Big
are you talking
Papa.
Oh,
about?
I'm going with Hawk and Animal.
And
The
then you got-
original.
Dude who's just a big dude
Yes,
who's
Heidenreich.
bucked up.
Yes, Heidenreich,
yeah.
and then
You know what I
also,
mean?
and in the '80s, they actually
That was a train wreck.
When Animal and Hawk went to Japan, they actually, each of them, both Hawk and Animal, teamed with somebody named Kensuke Sasaki, who went as Power Warrior. Power Warrior.
How do we say it? Insuke Kalate.
Yes, that was the Hell Warriors. That was,
Insuke Kalate.
yes, the Hell Warriors was Road
Sounds good.
Warrior Animal and Kensuke Sasaki, Animal Warrior and Power Warrior. Now,
Power Warrior.
the Hellraisers was Road Warrior Hawk and Kensuke Sasaki.
You cannot go wrong
Hawk
with them
Warrior
from
and
the
Power
beginning.
Warrior.
Those are the obsolete from the beginning.
Yeah,
They
I mean, they're not the
faded away.
originals.
They're not as good as the
Well, they're
tag
gone
teams
now.
that are coming now.
Well, they're gone now.
That's what I'm.
Yes, and no, I agree with you. They don't have the championships. They do have the longevity, and they were the first wrestlers to really select a wrestling theme from a major movie.
They have the name.
The shoulder pads and everything were,
They have the
were the Mad
name.
Max.
Yeah.
to create the best tag team known to man.
I mean, and then they did. They innovated a lot of what tag
They
team
had
wrestling
the-
was. Before them, like, you
The
didn't
Doomsday
really see
Device?
a whole lot of tag team moves.
Doomsday
where
Device.
someone would
Yeah.
come in and do, like, a move. Because the Doomsday Device where he would put the opponent on his shoulder, and then
the
he would go
clothesline.
up on the top rope and do the clothesline. That was one of the first times, especially on TV and on a signed wrestling show, that you got to see tag team moves like that, like tandem moves like that. They created that. Everything that the Hardy Boys did together, and the 3D and the Dudley
Let's
Boys.
not get started on the Hardy Boys.
Absolutely.
talking about
I freaking love the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think could go up there. I understand your pick. I understand the Legion of Doom. They've got the
Five
stats.
time,
No, but-
five-time
no,
tag
no, no,
champions.
no.
5-time tag champions.
They've got the stats. They've got the
Hardy
legacy.
Boys
They're a very
are,
solid pick.
are right there.
But you can't. I
Rick
mean,
and
but,
I-
Animals and
without the Legion of what we're saying though is that this is the Mount Rushmore. So it's the real life Mount Rushmore. Well, who's on the real life Mount Rushmore?
I don't
the
understand
founding
it.
fathers of the country, George Washington. Some of our greatest leaders are on it. So that's what we're doing. We're selecting people who changed the industry and allowed people like like the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, the Steiners, Harlem Heat.
But at the same
All
time,
right.
you can also talk about
Each of them-
the innovation
Yes.
that the Hardy Boys have done. And Mizpah and I actually agree on this one because we've both selected the Dudleys as our
And
Mount
the
Rushmore
Dudleys.
tag
And-
team.
Give me
and
more
The
information.
Dudleys,
The
Bubba Ray and
Dudleys.
Devon Dudley, the Team 3D. Look, you want to talk accolades?
You wanna talk about
tag team
accolades?
titles?
Yeah, you wanna talk about
talk
accolades?
I
I'm
need-
not
I
good
want
at
more
this.
information so I
Every
can remember.
they
Go ahead.
were in
No.
WWE for a while. They wore camo. Bubba Ray wore big, thick black glasses.
We're trying to
and
help
they did the
J-Man
3D.
figure out who the Dudleys are.
Bubba Ray used to put people through tables.
Look it up on your
He
phone.
used to put.
Let's give some stats while you look them up.
Yeah, rattle
Look
out
up
the
a picture
stats.
for him, and then let me give you some stats. The
They're
Dudley
the-
Boys, Bubba. Go ahead. No, go
They're
ahead.
the only tag team to
Was
hold
it the Bubble Boy?
I got
WWF,
Dudley.
He's gonna get it.
WWE, ECW, WCW, NWA, TNA,
These guys.
and
These guys ring a bell?
IWGP
Yes.
Tag Team
Yeah.
Championships.
Fucking love those guys.
Yes,
Yes.
that's 1, 2,
These
3,
guys-
4, 5,
Their
6,
legacy
7
goes
different
beyond
companies.
WWE. They have won the ECW.
You-
the
They
wanna
go
read it
before the
again?
Hardy Boys. They go before
They have every single tag team championship
the
there is
studs
to win.
or
They
the
have
20,
won.
whatever they are.
23 times tag team champion. 23 times.
Different
goats.
It
organizations.
is unprecedented. That's
Are
that's
they the goats?
unprecedented.
I believe they are the goats.
They're the
On
goats.
my Mount Rushmore, they are the goats.
They're the
Two
goats.
matches of the year in Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Two-time
Two-time.
tag team of the year, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and tag team of the decade, 2000 to 2009.
Co-main evented WrestleMania, and they also were 1/3 of the most important match in wrestling history, in my personal opinion as a fan. The very first ever tables, ladders, and chairs
The
match
TLC
between
matches,
the Hardy
yeah.
Boys, the Dudley Boys, and Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
That
The
innovated-
most important
Yeah.
wrestling match in history, in my humble opinion. That match changed the game.
What's the
Every
ones
match-
with the Steiner brothers?
Yeah. Yes, the Steiner brothers
Where do the Steiner brothers rack with all of these
ranked.
teams?
And the Steiners are also up there. They
Yeah.
are
I would
also
call
I
the
wouldn't hear it,
Steiners-
honestly.
I would call the Steiners top 20.
they are no, they got to be higher. I would
10.
definitely put them in the top 10.
You got to
easily.
go
No,
10.
I wouldn't
Dude,
put them top
yes,
10.
they are AWA, NWA, WCW,
We grew
and
up on
WWF
them.
tag team champions.
The Hardy Boys.
When they
not
made it
many
big, they
things to do it.
separated though. When
Everything
they made it
we-
big, they separated though. So WCW at its height, they weren't still rocking and rolling over the
You're right.
tag
They
team.
wrestled for 20 years
That's
and
true.
then they stopped.
That is
They
very
wrestled
true.
for 20
I-
years.
I mean, I understand. I
don't
would
have the
put them top
stats.
20. I'm not trying to argue against the Steiner brothers. I'm just saying I don't know if they're top 10.
I would
you
put them
look
in
at
the
the
top
tag
10.
team picture, top 10. It's hard for me to put
Maybe
the Steiners in
10th.
top 10.
Maybe 10th, but I would probably.
It's-
I would
it's
like.
So we got the
hard for
Hardys,
me to
the
put
Steiners.
We're gonna do. We're gonna
We're
do a
gonna
lot
do
of
a top 10
10s.
tag team.
Yeah,
we
we're
gotta
We're
get
gonna be
this.
doing top 10 tag
yeah.
team. We're not gonna
I'm
do it
game.
this episode,
No,
but we're
but we are
absolutely
going to be
doing
doing
top
it.
10
Yeah.
tags. Absolutely.
so-
That's
Stables.
100% an
I
episode.
think we need to move on to the stables.
Yeah, let's do the stables. And we can get to real content.
So,
I mean, I have the winner. There is only one.
No, yes,
choice
you're right.
here.
I do have the one choice.
No, there is. I
Right
have
here it
the
is.
only one
What
choice
is it?
that there
Written down.
is. It is the only choice that makes any sort of sense. Is the New World Order?
Oh,
Is the NWO?
strong arguments for it. It was
Is-
a tough call for me
is the
not
New
to
World
choose
Order.
them. It was.
All right.
I did not
That's
choose them.
cheesy, and it needs to be. That's
You
all
want
that
to
is.
talk about dethroning
Oh, I don't know.
WWE?
I mean,
83
no
weeks.
way. The NWO is
83 weeks destroyed WWE. Changed
Cheesy.
the
Tough. It
face
was
of the
so
wrestling
tough.
game.
Cheesy.
But-
Changed wrestling.
Cheesy.
No, maybe it
let me
became
ask
cheesy because at the end of it, yes, it got a little, but in the beginning,
Cheesy.
In
No.
the beginning, Josh,
We-
There
question.
has
It
to
was
be something better
Hogan
than that.
turned
J-Man,
back.
you're the only one that I think is going to believe that the
let me
NWO is
ask you a
cheesy.
question.
They're cheesy.
No,
Did they at any time
I.
hold all of the titles?
Oh, you're
Yes.
So
Yeah, get
what
that,
I asked him
57.
was, did they hold all of the titles at the same time?
I think NWO did. I mean, World Tag TV, yeah.
They did. I mean, they did hold the cruiserweight
I don't believe
for a
it was
very
at
short
the same
time.
I'm pretty sure. I mean,
Six-
NWO ran. I mean, if you're talking NWO and NWO Wolfpack, then yes, for sure.
No,
because
no,
for a
they
while
didn't.
there, everybody and their
Miss Lady.
brother was a member
No,
of
they-
the NWO.
No, they didn't. And now that I just remembered, no, they didn't. They never held the television title ever. Never. The NWO never held the television title.
Really?
Yes, never.
Disco or
That does not count. Now he's reaching.
Disco Inferno was a member of the NWO.
And he didn't.
Wolfpack.
And they also didn't hold him at the same time, simultaneously, which is what Nick's pick did. And
The Hart Foundation.
The Hart Foundation.
But not the original Hart Foundation, the group, the 4-man group with Brian Pillman.
Yeah, the Hart
also.
Foundation doesn't sound like
The stable at Hart Foundation, not the tag team Hart Foundation.
No, I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
They held all of the WWE titles at the same time.
They did.
They
For a
have-
period of time, a substantial period of time.
A good list of individual championships.
I mean, you
you've
can't
got
argue
Bret
against
Hart.
that.
Come on, we gotta pick
Bret Hart,
thing.
Owen Hart, British
Goldberg.
Bulldog. Goldberg?
because
No,
it's
Goldberg.
realistic and it really
Goldberg
happened.
is one of the worst wrestlers in history. I
Yes.
wouldn't put Goldberg on
No.
a top 1,000 list.
No.
But
Neither
he
would I.
has impact.
The
In,
only top
you want
10
to
give
the
me
only
stats
top
on
10
this?
list Goldberg
Yes.
makes is the top 10 worst wrestlers of all time.
no,
Oh yeah.
Brock Lesnar makes that way.
They have a lot
higher
of
than he
individual.
is.
I would disagree
A lot of
with that.
individual champions.
Oh, this is
I
not
mean,
the Goldberg
They
show.
both had the same aspect of.
Oh, this is not. We're not having this conversation on this episode. We're not comparing Brock Lesnar to Goldberg on this episode.
I mean,
That's-
it's not wrong.
that's a
That's
whole
a
conversation
that's
of
a
its own.
conversation
Not
that we're
wrong.
not splintering off of. We're not doing that. Not today. That's easily another episode.
He is
But
the
not.
modern day Goldberg. He is absolutely the modern
Not-
day Goldberg.
Let's
but
not have that
anyway,
conversation.
the,
Go back,
the
let
Hart
Nick-
Foundation. An
Yeah.
interesting point, Ms. Pa. I honestly, if I'm being honest with you, had not thought of the Hart Foundation while I was putting together.
I
this
thought it was a
list.
bold pick. Also, a
bold pick. I would absolutely say bold pick. I did not know. You're actually educating me there. I did not know that they had held all the championships at once.
Yeah.
That is when you're talking about accolades, when you're talking about doing something that hasn't been done, I mean, since, I don't think either. I mean, I think the Hurt Business had the world
Legacy.
in the title.
Legacy? Not Legacy. Evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah, because Randy did hold the IC
But they're
belt
short
there
a
for a minute,
title
didn't
because
they?
they did away with a title.
What?
Evolution.
They had the Intercontinental, the World Title, and the Tag Titles. Ric Flair and Batista were the Tag Titles. Randy
Okay.
Orton was the Intercontinental.
Yeah, because I
and
think at
Triple
that
H was
point
the
they
World
had gotten
Champion.
rid of the
You're gonna
European
get to the
title.
match that
Okay.
I watched.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, they had a bunch of individual championships between all of the members. I mean, just a huge list.
Individual accolades. When you tally their individual accolades up, then it does add up.
It is impressive. It's an impressive legacy of ass kickery.
We'll put some of the. I don't think we need to go over all of them because I have them all listed here by the team and individually. We'll put some of them.
Yeah,
up
we don't
on the
need
screen
to-
while we're
Even
talking.
for individual
so that way the
picks,
people can see
there's
some of the
so
accolades
many-
that we've been talking about anyway.
It was so hard to go through picks because, I mean, you've got like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and Jake the Snake and Ultimate Warrior.
Hacksaw
and
Jim
Rowdy
Duggan.
Piper, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah, Ms. Paul did flirt with
mean,
Hacksaw Jim Duggan on his
there's-
list too until I talked him out of it.
There's so many options.
He's definitely yeah.
You've got, the...
And Jericho, I think Jericho could easily be on.
Oh, absolutely.
Please don't tell
Especially
me
by the
about
time his
Jericho.
career is done. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, you can't deny his career.
I think
and what he's
Jericho is
done.
going to be. He's going to be so much longer in this business because of his commentary work. I think once his in-ring career is done, it's only a matter of time before he's sitting at that commentary desk full time.
Absolutely.
And he's very good at it. He will bring Chris Jericho will bring to AEW a believable heel commentator, which is something they're lacking right now with Excalibur and Tony Schiavone.
Taz is a good heel commentator.
Taz is I don't buy Taz. I could sit here for half an episode and tell you and
He's
like,
just
I
not
don't
good
buy
at it.
Taz.
He's just not good at it. is
I
all.
just don't buy Taz.
No bueno.
I agree with Paul Heyman. Taz is a
He's not
fat
a microphone guy.
old wrestler. He's a fat old wrestling commentator, and he's not even a good one.
No, I don't think. I
Some
don't like
people
Taz
are good
either.
on a microphone and some aren't. And
I think
Taz
he-
just
Listen,
isn't.
Taz is good on a mic. I just don't think he's good commentator.
Well,
I don't
that's
even
what
know
I
if
mean.
he's really that good on the mic. To be
I
quite
think he's
honest
all
with
right
you.
on the mic. I like Taz.
But,
Don't get me wrong. No hate on Taz. Love you, Taz.
A couple other honorable mentions before we get to some actual content here. The Click, I wanted to give them a shout out because
Actual
really,
content. This is all good, usable content.
you know what I meant. I meant like today's stuff.
Actual
I'm sorry, excuse
content.
me. I meant today's stuff, like things that are happening today in today's wrestling world, especially in AEW. But the Click, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Scott Hall, X-Pac, Kevin Nash. I mean, they really revolutionized wrestling in their own way. In different,
Very much so. I
in
mean,
different-
everybody-
in two different companies.
All
yeah.
of the stars of the Monday Night War. I mean, pretty much
They are
everybody
the
out there.
stars.
Roddy Piper. You can't.
Rowdy
not give
Piper.
anything. You got to give everything to the Hot Rod. I mean, the dude had
He's
to
a
walk
douche.
around in a freaking stab-proof coat because he got stabbed so many fucking times. Like, it was his job to be a douche. He wanted you to think he's a douche. And he did
Absolutely.
a good fucking job at his job.
Yeah.
He's a douche
I
because
just
he
didn't
wanted
like
you
his
to think.
part of the job.
That's
Yeah.
I
exactly
just
what
didn't
he
like
wanted
him.
you to think.
He could have been the bad guy to me. I don't like him.
Oh,
And we'll
he
save
did. So
the
good. It was
Hardy
so
Boys,
good.
Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys for when we do the greatest tag
Yes,
teams,
we are
'cause
absolutely
you're-
sitting down and doing a
We're
tag
not
team
done.
focused episode.
Yeah, so all right, we're gonna move on now to some wrestling in today and how it's going. The WWE pros and cons, they're falling apart, Curtis Merck.
I mean, you said pros and cons like there were pros to mention.
Yeah.
ahead.
I have pros. Go
ahead, I'm
They
interested.
do own the entire history of wrestling is under their banner. I mean,
mean,
literally the
then that-
entire world of the entire wrestling world
It's
of
not
history.
a pro in my opinion.
I think that's
really?
an interesting stat. I think
Yes.
that's-
Well,
I
I mean,
mean,
it's not a pro that
everybody's-
they have it, but it's a pro that we have access to it through the WWE network and can watch shows from 1970.
Yeah,
Very
he's got a
true,
point there.
but I believe the future of WWE, that is going to be a huge negative because it's, in my opinion, it's only a matter of time before the WWE is owned by either Disney or Amazon.
Yeah, and then they'll make us pay to see everything. Which,
Vince
well,
McMahon
WWE
has.
already does that
Let me
anyway,
tell you
but-
something here. Let me give you a little couple of stats I put together for you here.
Yeah,
Gunner.
'cause I don't have
in
very good
2020, the WWE released 33 superstars.
Wow.
In 2021, that number nearly tripled to 85 released superstars, including the likes of Ric Flair, Jeff Hardy, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Ruby Riott, Andrade El Idolo, Samoa Joe, William Regal.
Wow.
All right.
There's three more.
Rusev, Kurt Angle, Renee Young.
Wow.
All right. Mickey James.
Wow.
Like, they have been slimming the roster, and the only reason
And
they've
I've
given for
watched
all of
it.
these is budget cuts. When WWE is posting record profits, WWE is making more money. Their product is the worst it's ever been.
Oh,
yeah.
The worst. Objectively, it has
Why is
ever
that?
been.
I have
There's
Two
a lot
words
of
for you.
reasons for that. There's a
Two
lot of
words.
reasons
Con-
why the content is
words
so
don't
bad in
Content.
WWE right
No,
now.
no, I meant why are they so profitable though? The WWE network and content.
The WWE network, a lot of the profits that they're bringing in right now, I mean, WWE pay-per-views will always bring in people, especially the big ones, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam. People are going to watch those pay-per-views. Even casual wrestling fans
Yeah.
tune in for the Royal Rumble and for WrestleMania. The deal with Peacock is bringing in WWE Network hand over fist because they are giving everybody who has regular Peacock a taste of it, and then they're bringing in those bigger subscriptions on the Peacock Plus network or something like that.
Yeah.
That move right there is what is keeping Vince McMahon and the WWE alive. And the other thing that is surprisingly keeping them alive and growing these record profits is the merchandise.
Yeah.
The amount of merchandise, because every time there's a Macho Man Randy Savage t-shirt, every time there's an Eddie Guerrero t-shirt, every time there is a NWO t-shirt that gets sold, WWE has their hands in all of that. If you go back and look at WWE's reporting at the end of the year, I'd say 60 to 70% of their money comes from merchandising and from the licensing deals that they have. The video games, the online content, the mobile games and stuff like that. WWE is beyond a wrestling company at this point. They are a media company which
happens to put on wrestling shows.
Which I believe is why Vince McMahon is slimming down. It's my opinion, and especially it was just
And NXT's falling apart.
NXT is completely gone. We'll get to NXT. The state of WWE, it was announced 2 days ago that the WWE reached an exclusive deal to stream WWE Network on Disney Plus in India and a couple of other countries overseas.
Yeah, I saw
That is the beginning of this. That is the first step in it. It is my opinion, and you can mark me down. 5 years from now, go back and play this episode down. WWE is either owned by Disney or by Amazon. Vince McMahon is looking to sell.
Yeah.
I don't think it even takes 5 years.
The legacy is broken down.
might.
Shane McMahon is gone. He is no longer with WWE in any way. He's not even a performer. Stephanie McMahon is still very much like in things and running, but she's not like she's in the day-to-day behind the scenes stuff. She's running the
Vince is
corporate
still
side.
the one running the show.
Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are the one putting on the shows. They're the one writing the scripts. They're the ones doing the day-to-day. And in my opinion, they have lost touch with what professional wrestling is today.
Yeah.
They're still doing it old school.
Yeah.
But they went even beyond Attitude Era to go back to the days of the gimmick wrestling.
Yeah.
They're giving people gimmicks left and right. Karrion Kross came in as this barbarian gladiator dude. He came from NXT, an established hot dude from NXT. He had so much heat. The crowd hated this guy. They loved booing him. They stood up on their and rocked that stadium when he won the NXT title. He goes on WWE, debuts on Monday Night Raw in gladiator gear and a mask.
Well, they like the gladiators, the WWE does.
All right, and the
a lot
crowd
of-
did nothing for him. And that is just a list of one. They wanted to turn Adam Cole, baby, into a manager. They wanted Adam Cole to manage RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Riddle.
Yeah. I just want to point out that when he does his thing on AEW, Adam Cole, baby, it sounds like he's saying, asshole, baby.
I completely disagree. Adam Cole is more
At first, I thought he
over-
was saying that. When I first heard that,
Adam
I said,
Cole
did he just
is
announce
so
that he's an
over.
asshole to everybody?
Adam Cole is
I thought
one
it
of the
was
most
great.
over superstars in the world right now.
When I heard it was Adam Cole, I was actually a little disappointed. I was like, it would have been much cooler if he was just calling himself an asshole, baby. NXT, the Vince, I'm going to say a couple things that I think the WWE botched over the history. The WCW invasion angle with ECW, they botched it. NWO, they had a chance to bring it back, botched it. Sting and WWE, botched it. Goldberg versus Brock match, botched it. Opportunity to finally have a Sting versus Undertaker match, never taken. And they've also never, ever in the history of their entire company had a good cruiserweight or lightweight division whatsoever.
The WWE attempted to ruin the legacy of Sting.
Go ahead, J-Man. What do you got?
Okay, let's go back to what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Oh, you're gonna.
What
you wanna
match
talk
were
about
we
the match?
watching?
We're not
What
to
match?
the AEW yet.
We're not the okay.
We're just
then.
now getting to the AEW. You want to talk? Let's go to that then. Let's talk
All
about
right.
the AEW match that and the good and the bad. Let's talk about a little bit of the bad. A couple weeks ago, they put on an Iron Man match between Bryan Danielson and
Zero bad. One of the best matches I've ever seen.
Dude, you
Keep it under control
One
and
of the
express yourself.
absolute best matches I've ever seen in my life. Pacing, technical wrestling,
No.
integrating with the crowd.
The second match was better. When they did a second match 2 weeks later.
no, that shit
We're-
sucked too.
Yes.
That was garbage. Let me ask you one
I was
question.
there for that match.
J-Man
That was
doesn't
a
like either
great
I don't
one.
care if you were there or not. You
I
must
was
have
there
been
for
blind.
That was a great fucking match.
J-Man, what do you?
You
say
must have
something.
poked yourself in the eye
What didn't
because
you
you
like
could
about
not see anything. It was one dude getting beat up by another dude for an hour.
the first one, the Iron Man match? And I would
How
agree
is
with
that a good match?
I would agree with that. It was
Very one.
I
Brian-
could have beat you up for an hour.
Mizpah watched it
Terrible.
too.
You could have beat me up for an hour.
You don't. It's okay.
The
You're not-
worst match I've ever seen in my entire life.
He's just
And
getting
I don't
animated.
care if anybody's
Disagree.
stopping me.
He's just getting
That
animated.
is the worst thing I've ever
I
seen in my
thought
life.
pacing it was done. I thought
Pacing,
I thought,
dude. One dude was
Hangman-
hurt. One dude was bleeding. He got beat up for an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I thought
One
it was
guy
one-sided.
got beat up for an
Very
hour.
one-sided.
I thought it was.
One
I also
guy.
thought it was
Don't
very
have to yell at me, man.
one-sided.
I'm right here.
He's just getting excited. He's not yelling.
Yelling
He's just getting
directly in my
excited.
face. I'm right here.
You yelled too when you were getting excited on the thinger. And
All right, so everybody tone it back a little and let's keep talking.
I completely disagree. I thought, like, pacing, it was well done. I thought they put on a good technical match, back and forth. There was... I can definitely see the complaints about breathing and taking breaks in
Yeah.
between the match. But I think if you go back
My bad, my bad.
and historically and watch, you see a lot of that in Iron Man matches. Go back and watch Brett
There are-
and Shawn
yes,
Michaels.
there are
There's
some of them.
a
Wrestling-
lot of that breathing. Go back and watch... who you
Wrestling
said
for an hour.
Somebody.
It was in
Ric
the
Flair.
it was
let's
in the-
not look into the past of it. Let's look at what it is right now.
Well, that's why you
That was
compare
a
Iron
terrible
Man
match.
matches to past matches.
See, I disagreed. I
was a
disagree.
terrible
I
match.
thought it was a really good
And-
hour-long match. I thought they were telling a story. That match was never gonna be.
The second one was just as bad, man.
I definitely disagree.
Dude,
That's
that
a
was
5-star
just
match
as
in my
bad.
opinion. Those guys put on a display of violence, and it was great.
Okay,
It was one dude getting
great.
beat up, then it was another dude getting beat up, and that was that.
I mean, that's a wrestling match, dog.
okay. Now,
That was the
That's a
worst
do
thing.
you
I've
have
ever
anything you
seen.
want to input on the
We
Iron
put-
Man matches?
We,
So
as
as far as
us
that
brothers,
match
put on
goes,
better matches.
I think
disagree.
it would have been a better match if there would have at least been, a little more
Anything?
input from I forget the guy's
My
name.
bad
that got
for
his
getting excited.
ass beat.
My bad.
You're good, man. I'm
Hangman
sorry.
Adam
I'm
Page.
high as
That was
fuck.
between
I
Bryan
thought you were-
Danielson and Hangman
Don't
No, I
Adam
mind
wasn't
me.
coming
Page.
at you.
Don't mind me.
All right.
I'm just. We're good. We're
If he
good.
bad.
The
could've-
next, we're talking about the Iron Man match, and then the rematch they had 2 weeks
bad,
later.
man.
No, we're good, man.
And the first, so you're talking about the first one.
Yes,
Yes, I think it was a little one-sided.
very one-sided.
Now,
It got to the point.
They definitely made
in my
Bryan
opinion,
Danielson
is-
look strong.
They did, but I got tired of watching it.
Yeah, I also want to, since you said that, Merc, I want to point out that how smart is it to have the guy coming in new to the company dominate your champ for an hour? That's not a smart move, in my opinion. That's a bad wrestling move.
I didn't
That
see
was
it
a bad
like that.
wresling move.
I saw it as
Okay.
That's fine.
Danielson coming in.
And
He's
that's
obviously
another
a
view.
strong competitor. He's one of the strongest wrestlers in the business right now.
And cardio.
What's his
Holy
name?
cow. Brian
And he's
Danielson
over.
cardio.
Bryan Danielson. And he's
He
so
was the
over
small-
with the crowd.
small one.
Danielson
Yeah.
versus Hangman, the only way that match happens, the only way those series of matches happens is the way that it happened. If you have Danielson come in and lose quickly to Hangman, you completely freeze out Danielson.
I'm not saying he has to come in and dominate the match.
you
It should have
freeze
been
out-
much more even.
My opinion, that was the worst thing I've ever
I
seen.
think Hangman showed durability, and he showed the ability to sit there and hang with Danielson.
J-Man is
showed-
bouncing. He's passed his bedtime. Is that what's happening right now? J-Man's bouncing. It's
The
past his
first
bedtime.
thing, if I've watched
Final
wrestling
comments from J-Man?
for the first time and I watched those matches, I'd never watch it again.
All right. J-Man, everybody, share it out, the episode.
I think maybe we pause for an ad break here. Take 5.
We pause for an ad break. All right,
Pause
we're
for
gonna
an ad break.
We're gonna put an ad break in, so it'll only be 5 seconds for you, but it's going to be a few minutes for us. Stay tuned. We're gonna talk more about the AEW and the WWE and what's going on in wrestling. Well, I'm back after our intermission. We had to take a pee break there. We were talking about AEW. We were talking about that match, but I think AEW's got a lot going for it right now. I think it's bringing wrestling back in a big way compared to what WWE's been doing.
I mean, Tony Khan's just a better storyteller than Vince McMahon. That's really all there is to it right now. Tony Khan's got a better understanding of what the adult wrestling audience wants to see. I don't want to take away from what WWE's done in the history. Their history is well known and everything, but for current content, WWE is 5th.
Yeah,
Maybe 4th.
yeah.
I mean, there's so much great wrestling content out there if you're a wrestling fan now. AEW, obviously, in my opinion, at number 1. I've been to a live show. I've been to 2 live shows. I was at Dynamite and Rampage. It was amazing.
They put on better matches. They brought back Stable Warfare, which I've always been a fan of.
Such a big fan of the Stable Warfare.
I mean,
element to it.
almost every single one of their wrestlers is in a stable of some kind. I don't know. There's not very many just individual single superstars.
Nope.
I'm going to put the list up on the screen for you guys on all the different stables that there are. I mean, there's the Jurassic Express, Death Triangle, Dark Order, the Hardy Family Office, which is kind of taking a weird turn now with what's his name?
Andrade
Yeah.
El Idolo. A very interesting way to go, but again, it all ties into storytelling, which is just phenomenal in AEW right now.
Yes, and of course the Inner Circle, the Elite, the 2 biggest of the
Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho. Although they might be seeing a breakup here, perhaps.
Again, telling the story, I think there's...
But who's really telling the stories?
Well, the wrestlers definitely have a hand in it, more so in AEW than in WWE.
Much more so. There's a lot of creative and freedom in AEW that WWE, frankly, saps out of people.
Yeah.
It is actively frowned upon to be creative in WWE.
Yeah, they get scripts in the WWE. But in AEW they're allowed to just go out there and talk. Like when they have a. I'm sure some wrestlers, they're leaving it up to the wrestlers. If a wrestler wants to have a script write out or have someone write them a script, then they're allowed to do that. If they want to
No
go out there
scripts at AEW.
and just speak from the hip, they're allowed to. That's what AEW offers, the freedom to choose how you want to handle
Vince
their
will
character.
literally
Helps
hand you a
storylines.
script.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon or Bruce Pritchard will literally hand you a script and say, this is what you're going to say.
And that's why they're failing.
And if you go too far off script, it's the end of you. And it's really a crying shame because it looked like things were going to be going in a better direction. If you would have asked me this question not even 3 years ago, it was setting up that NXT was where Triple H and Shawn Michaels were proving that their model of running the WWE, of the future of the company and of the business, would be successful. That it was successful and that they could do it and that this was going to be the future of it all. then when the Wednesday Night Wars happened and the collapse of NXT to what it is now, from the black and gold brand, from this original spontaneous thing that was gaining a massive amount of following. Without NXT, you don't get Adam Cole, you don't get Bobby Fish, you don't get Kyle O'Reilly, you don't get Finn Balor, you don't...
And all these guys have jumped ship now to AEW.
Finn Balor's still a WWE guy, but otherwise, yes.
Yeah, Balor's still there, but yeah, I mean, otherwise, the AEW is just picking them up.
And then Triple H has what has been described by every insider that knows anything as a extremely significant cardiac event, aka he had a fucking heart attack the size of New York City.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels is left there to run it all by himself, and whilst Triple H is out, in comes Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, and they gut the creation.
Yeah.
They gut NXT Black and Gold and turn it into what is now known as NXT 2.0, this rainbow, colorful WWE Junior.
Yeah. Well, we got the same people running it, then...
So tell me what is it for Triple H and Shawn Michaels to keep there and to try and to take WWE into the future?
Yeah.
Vince McMahon, and then again, that is just me, is another piece of evidence of why I think Vince is getting ready to sell the company.
Yeah, because he's not letting anybody who's doing a good job do anything.
Triple H and Shawn Michaels had a vision and they had a plan, and as soon as Triple H's heart attack happened, apparently it was already in the works behind the scenes. You know, I'm no insider or anything, but from what I've been able to put together, and then they go in the weeks afterwards and get rid of every single one of Triple H's guys.
Yeah.
Road Dogg Jesse James, he was backstage producing NXT, helping train talent,
he's
being a
released
coach.
too?
Gone.
Wow.
William Regal, a strict Triple H guy. He was helping run. He was the general manager of NXT. He was the on-screen general manager of NXT, and he was one of the executive producers, and he was one of the coaches. The greatest technical wrestler possibly of all time.
Definitely one of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time. Definitely.
Top three. I mean, even if you can't call him the best, because there are Dean Malenkos out there, there are Bret Hart's out there.
Yeah, but he's right there with them too.
Yes,
yeah,
he is
right there.
Upper echelon A-tier wrestler in William Regal. And when you let someone like that go, who only wanted... He was an on-screen general manager, but what he wanted to do was to help train the future of the company.
Yeah.
To help train the up-and-coming guys. And when you just go in and you let a William Regal go, what are you doing?
Maybe the AEW will pick him
What
up
does
next.
Vince McMahon do? Oh, no. The day after he was released, Tony Khan went on and did an interview, and he was like, oh, yeah, I called him immediately. I told him if he wanted to come in a general manager role and a backstage role, he was like, I would be a fool not to want somebody of a William Regal quality on my team.
Yep.
He was like, I have already spoken to William Regal. He's like,
Yeah.
He's like, he wouldn't go into anything. I think he's still under a non-compete. But Tony Khan was on an interview like a day or two after Regal got fired and was already like, I've already had a conversation with him. Any sort of role William Regal wants in AEW, if he wants it, he would absolutely be welcomed. And there are other places. I mean, you cannot take away from what Impact is doing. Ring of Honor very recently shut down.
Shut down, yeah.
But they are still saying that they're going to be putting shows on in the future. We'll see if they actually do anything.
Yeah.
NWA Power is out there. Again, they do a lot of really good matches on YouTube. There's a lot of young up-and-coming stars there.
Yeah, they're making a resurgence, the NWA. They're trying to not pretty much disappear since they broke away from TNA.
Right now, AEW is in the lead. I mean, WWE is the powerhouse.
They got a TV deal. That's where it is. All these other companies are putting on shows, and you can watch them on YouTube. Just go to YouTube. A lot of these companies put on YouTube shows. But in terms of TV deals, AEW has one and the WWE has one. And unless you got a great product, it's not likely you're going to find another TV company that's going to put you on.
I mean, everything's either owned by Disney or Time Warner nowadays, and you've got those two pretty much covered by WWE or AEW. So, unfortunately, there's not really a whole lot more competition out there for another company to get on. I mean, there is actually one of the things that I wanted to cover before we finished was there's actually a very interesting that I actually forgot to make a note to you about. Very recent thing. There's actually a very interesting developing lawsuit right now against the WWE that has the it has the potential to change things drastically. There is a smaller promotion right now. It's called Major League Wrestling.
Yeah, I think I know the story.
MLW.
Yeah.
MLW was working up, pretty much right alongside where AEW and Ring of Honor were, trying to become a bigger corporation, putting on these shows, having a great time. They actually went and they were making up a deal with Vice TV to get their content on Vice TV channel.
All right.
This is game changer for any sort of wrestling company. For a wrestling company to get active TV time, especially on a channel that's, got some heat behind it like Vice's, would absolutely change the company.
Yeah.
Bring them in all sorts of new money, new talent that wants to come in.
Yeah.
Apparently what's going on now is that as soon as that deal was in the works behind the screens, Vince McMahon and Triple H and some CEOs from WWE called up Vice and was like, we're not happy about this. If you do this, you are going to sour any sort of relationship that you have with the WWE. Vice also produces a show called Dark Side of the Ring, which is a documentary series about some of the bad side of the wrestling industry that gets a lot of WWE assistance. They help them. They put them in contact with people who are still WWE, and WWE allows their talent to do interviews with the Vice documentarians and everything. So this was a pretty big threat. Triple H is calling up and saying, hey, we're not real big fan of this. That is illegal. That is tampering. That's monopoly shit.
Yeah.
And Major League Wrestling is now bringing a class action lawsuit against the WWE for predatory business practices. Now, if this lawsuit is in any way successful, this will change the face of the wrestling business, because WWE has been pressuring venues and TV companies and merchandising companies for decades. All right, this is not something new. This is not something that is unknown. Vince McMahon and the WWE tried to run New Japan Pro Wrestling out of Madison Square Garden. And the only reason, Madison Square Garden was getting ready to kick them out, but then New Japan came with the lawyers and was like, we have contracts. You kick us out, we're going to own this motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, they had to. But you notice the Madison Square Garden hasn't had a single wrestling show that hasn't been WWE since they hosted New Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to bully the venues
Could that
and
be
stuff.
part of the reason why Triple H is kind of being less and less involved?
No, I think it's a heart attack, honestly.
I think the heart attack...
On top of the heart attack?
I think before the heart attack, NXT, like Merc was saying, before the heart attack, NXT was looking like it was going to be the next thing.
What happened was the Wednesday Night Wars. The fact that they decided to put NXT directly opposite of Dynamite. They decided to directly compete with AEW Dynamite, and for a while NXT was winning and everything was golden. As soon as NXT started losing that ratings war with Dynamite, things started to turn for NXT.
Okay. Yeah.
This got taken away, then this got taken away, and then this, and then Triple H had the heart attack, and that's when Vince and Bruce Pritchard supposedly.
Yeah, that's what they do. It makes sense. That's what Vince always does. Anytime he gives someone else control, as soon as it falters a little bit, he has to have his hand back on the wheel.
Yeah.
And the thing is and in the 90s, it was what was needed. It's what the WWE needed. They needed Vince to take a hold of the wheel and to decide everything. They were getting their asses kicked by the WCW for, 80-some weeks?
82 weeks?
82, 83 weeks. And he had to do it in order to fight back against the WCW. But once he won that war, he needed to take his hand back off the wheel and give people more freedom
He's
again.
not capable of doing
No, because it's worked so well for him, and he beat WCW. He did everything he wanted. He owned them.
There you go.
He owned them.
There you go.
He
Right
wanted
here,
to
people.
buy them.
Listen to this. This is that knowledge.
That was the whole point. The whole point of the Monday Night Wars, and the whole point he took over was because Eric Bischoff challenged him.
He beat them.
Yes. Well, but it started with Bischoff directly in the middle of his shows, giving away results. And
that irritated.
Directly
so
challenging
Vince
him.
had to beat them.
So Vince had to answer back, and the way he did it was by taking control of the wheel. He had other people, but he was the ultimate yes-no guy. Yeah. And that's what he wanted. He wanted to own WCW. When he set out, that's what it was. It wasn't about beating him. That's the thing. That's the thing about Vince. Competition makes your product better. He doesn't understand that. He just wants the monopoly. He thinks if he's the only product, then people will watch it.
Vince is
he's not a capitalist. He's a monopolist.
Vince and the WWE.
I know that's not a real word.
Vince and the WWE are the casualties of their own success.
Yeah.
After a while, once it got to the point where it was more of a corporation than a wrestling company, Because we were talking about this earlier. The WWE is more than a wrestling company. It is a media
they are.
entity at this point.
Music,
it is
movies.
And at that point, they have to control everything down to the little minutiae. They take over their superstars' social media accounts.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have to control the narrative down to
They're not
every
even
little.
WWE. I mean, kayfabe is dead.
It's
Every wrestling
completely
fan,
dead.
every wrestling fan knows what they're watching is a show put on. By
And
people, okay?
and Vince did that.
But
Vince is the reason for that. So Vince understands that and gets that, but he hasn't evolved.
He doesn't even let his characters, and so that's why he takes over their social media, because they can't be out of character. If you're a heel, you have to be a heel on social media. Kayfabe is dead.
There is a little bit to that, but it's more.
No.
The thing that it really does to me is that he takes and he removes the wrestler's input of the character.
Yeah.
There is very little input from the superstars about the direction of their character. A lot of times they'll walk in and they are given a script. And this is what you say. You do not deviate from this.
An outfit to wear.
You want to say this? Oh, give me the line you want to say. No, don't say that at all. There is not a whole lot of the give and take when it comes to the wrestler and their character. And when you put a wrestler in that situation, they're not going to be able to give everything to that character, to that persona, in the ring, on the mic. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be a certain level of wrestler. A Roman Reigns, an Edge, a Brock Lesnar, that unless you're at that level, you are given a script when you come to work.
Yeah, I think even people at that level at this point, as far as I know, only a handful of people like Triple H, Stone Cold, John Cena, the legends don't get scripts. Everybody else gets a script, including, I think, Roman Reigns and
Dean Ambrose and Brock.
And Seth Rollins. Brock probably not, but
there is no more Dean Ambrose. There is no more Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is dead.
No, but I'm saying he wasn't allowed to talk anyway. And Paul Heyman, of course, Heyman's
Brock talks now. Brock talks now, dude.
Paul Heyman's probably the only person that doesn't get handed a script. That's a regular.
Because Paul
Heyman's
the only one who never needs a script,
and he doesn't even work with them anymore, if I'm not mistaken.
He's right there. He's next to Brock Lesnar. He's next to Brock Lesnar every Monday Night Long.
Okay.
He's right in the middle of the thing between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
I'd love to see him in AEW.
He was with Roman Reigns. Brock lost the title, went away. Paul Heyman attached himself to Roman Reigns. He was with Roman Reigns the whole way through the Reigns Empire, and very recently when Brock came back, he jumped ship back to Brock. That's what's going on in WWE. That's the big thing in WWE right now is Paul Heyman's love triangle between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Yeah, whereas AEW is bringing not only prestige back to championships, but to matches as well. Putting on
I want to talk the women's division in AEW.
The women's division is on fire in AEW.
On fire. Dr. Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Jamie Hayter, Rebel, freaking Big Swole, Jade Cargill.
Yeah, listen, she's the new TBS champion. The TBS title is the secondary title.
I'm not a fan of Jade Cargill.
No, I'm not. I mean, no, I'm not either. For many reasons, I don't like how she dominates. She's big and she's big. She's a big
and she's got the look, and that is it. She's dangerous in the ring.
She's dangerous.
Women's wrestling now is equivalent to where men's wrestling was.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah, my line.
And I was very skeptical. I'm going to tell you, I was very, very, very skeptical about that.
Yeah.
Because you told me that.
Yeah.
And those were your exact words.
Yes, it was.
And I believe my exact words were, no way in hell.
Yeah, but they are.
Popular as
and we're starting to get older.
Wrestling was back
25 years ago now.
90s.
After watching several women's matches, I completely agree with you 110%.
Yeah.
AEW is doing some amazing things in their women's division right now. Those women are stepping up in a way that we have not seen women's wrestlers step up since Steph decided to drop the Divas belt and put respect back into women's wrestling. Get away from the TNA title matches, the tits and ass display. When the pudding matches and the jello matches ran away, when Stephanie took over the women's division, it was one of the best things WWE could have done, period.
Yes, and that improved their product. The women, I think, made some of their shows worth watching for a long time.
AEW is the continuation of that, because unfortunately WWE is starting to slip back into previous bad habits. Besides Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, the women's division in WWE is a little to be desired.
Well, and I feel like it became like now it's a focus on the wrestling with the women versus
So much
a focus on the showpiece.
Yeah.
So Serena Deeb. I want to talk about Serena Deeb. Where we were talking about technical wrestlers earlier. Watch some matches with Serena Deeb.
Is she the woman of a
the
thousand
Professor
holds?
Serena Deeb, yes.
The woman of a thousand holds? Yeah, I like that she kind of
is
took
going
that
to be
moniker.
right
she's crazy.
up there.
No, I watched her
She
in a
is
match.
going to be right up there with the people we're talking about, technical wrestlers. She is
Yeah, no,
technically
she's
crisp.
very good.
She
Yeah.
is dominant. She has got the hold. She never botches. She knows what she's doing. She's got the
even
crowd and the palm of her hands. I'm a huge
When
Serena
there is a
Deeb
botch,
fan.
it's usually on the other person.
Mark my words on this one. I'm
definitely-
thinking it's Serena Deeb that takes that belt off Britt Baker.
Yes, I would agree with. I
I
would
think
agree with that.
Serena,
I think
she's
it's
so
Serena or
good that
Thunder.
when her opponent slips up, she can cover for them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's got it like white on rice. She's like, oh, I got you. You slipped. I'm going to turn that into an armbar or a freaking leg lock.
Yeah.
They're also doing good things with the world title. Hangman Adam Page is still the champion. He's been the champion now for a little while. He won it from Kenny Omega, and he was the second. We've had, what, 4 world champions now since AEW started, right?
Started with Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho lost it to John Moxley.
Yep.
John Moxley lost it to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega lost it to Hangman Adam Page.
So four champions. Kenny Omega is the longest reigning champion in AEW so far, 328 days, almost a full year. They're bringing back the title runs, which is what adds prestige to the titles.
Shout out to Kenny
champions beat
Omega.
everybody.
Shout out to Kenny Omega 2 or 3 days ago. Actually, we saw some of the first video footage of Kenny working out post-surgery. He's had his corrective surgeries. We're, according to all rumors, we're looking at getting Kenny Omega back on the screen sometime in early to mid-March. So hopefully we'll get Kenny back out there. He's got several good runs back in there. I'm a big Kenny Omega fan.
He's a big Kenny Omega fan. I am not a huge Kenny Omega fan. I think he's a fine competitor in the ring. He's excellent. He does good work as a wrestler. I don't really care or buy his entire gimmick, entire thing, all of it. Not his V trigger finisher, not the way he points. I don't get any of it. I don't get it. I am not a Kenny Omega fan. I love
everything about it. I'm all about it. The one-winged angel.
I do think he makes a fantastic heel because I already don't like him. So I think when he plays a heel, I buy him more as that. I think he plays a very great heel. See, I don't really buy him as a face, as a for the crowd guy. I didn't buy that.
If AEW is the only Kenny Omega you know, you really got to go back and watch a lot of his New Japan stuff. Kenny Omega really shined in New Japan. Not to take anything away from what he did in AEW.
But the Elite are making a heel turn right now anyway, so we're getting to see him as a heel.
They heel turned a while ago.
But
they've been heel turn. Yeah. But Kenny, for the last year and then for the last year and a couple of months, Kenny was wrestling with vertigo and shit like that. Like he needed some time off to heal. Some injuries.
He needed surgery.
We never really got, in my opinion, prime gold Kenny Omega in AEW. Because of the injuries that he was wrestling with the entire time he was champion. Not to say that he didn't put on 5-star matches. That match with him versus Danielson that went to the draw after 30 minutes, amazing match. I thought that was a great match. Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson was one of the best matches I've seen in AEW yet.
It was a good one. Kenny Omega is good in the ring. I just don't buy his whole character gimmick. I don't like his face gimmick. Yeah. I think he's a great heel. I don't think he's a very good face. And don't do that. This is AEW. This is not the WWE. Don't try and ram us down your throat if we're not buying you as a face. Don't be afraid to turn heel.
They did. Kenny Omega makes a great heel.
Roman Reigns in WWE, people would already be cheering for him if you would have just let them boo for him when they wanted to boo him.
I don't think anybody really buys Roman Reigns.
Embrace the heel. They want to boo you, just like The Rock did. How do you think The Rock made a career?
Roman Reigns is a heel.
Oh, right now, is he a heel finally?
Oh, yeah,
but they should have did that 5 years ago.
He's been a heel for a minute.
After the Shield broke up, he should have turned heel. You should have just let the people boo him. They want to. So just go out. Exactly. They want to boo him. Go out there, insult the crowd, and just draw that extra heat. There's no reason not to do it. Don't ram him down our throats as a face. No one's buying it. And that's what AEW does.
Honestly, Roman Reigns...
I don't think Bryan Danielson's coming in as a face. He's definitely coming in heel.
Oh, he came in as a face, but it very quickly turned. He went to neutral and then a heel because of that match with CM Punk. Not that match with CM Punk, because of the match with Kenny Omega and then with Hangman Page.
That's what I'm saying. They want to boo you. Don't fight it. Embrace it.
Boo you. See, that's the great thing about Danielson, though, because they'll boo
And
him,
he's
but they'll
smart enough-
still do the yes chance.
Because kayfabe is dead. It's
Dead.
not. It's about the show, and people can still get into whatever they want to get into. Put on a good show. Heel,
Just
face,
At
doesn't
this
matter.
at this last
Well, it
Dynamite,
almost-
we or at the Rampage before this last Dynamite, we saw they're starting to hint towards a Bryan Danielson, John Moxley program that I am very much looking forward to. I think Mox and Danielson will work together very nice, and I think it will again. 2 years, mark my word, sometime over the next 2 years, we're going to get that match that we didn't get in WWE, that CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson match. I think CM Punk's got 2, maybe 3 more good active years where he's going to be in the ring full time. And during those 2 or 3 years, this whole thing, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, they are already spinning around each other like planets coming towards each other. Tony Khan is an amazing long-term storyteller, and it's only going to be a matter of time before they run into each other.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They do storylines on top of storylines. Just because you have a feud with somebody right now doesn't mean that's who you're working an active program against. But that doesn't mean when you're done with your active program, you can't ignite that rivalry that's been started on the side. That's one thing AEW's been doing good too, is that keeping you guessing on who is someone going to face after this feud is over. It's not so easy to figure out in AEW. In WWE, it's telegraphed like they mailed it.
And they've got a very strong roster right now too, almost to the point of detriment, because there's definitely people on the AEW roster who have been lost in the shuffle. People like a lot of the internet would say Brian Cage. I'm not very high on Brian Cage myself. I think he's too big and too clunky. I don't think he's the superstar a lot of people on the internet think
not.
He is.
No, he's a Scott Steiner. And Scott Steiner should have never been the world champion.
AEW gave Brian Cage the ball 2 or 3 times and he fumbled it every time. Like they had Taz bring the FTW championship back to put it on Brian Cage, and he wasn't able to get any heat. So.
Yeah. Because he's not. Yeah, he's big. He's got the look. He's a WWE superstar. Exactly. But he's not an AEW.
He's got the look, but on the mic, he had to have Taz do his talking for him. And when you can't do your own talking, you're only going to go so far.
What I would say is, the last, hour of our conversation, AEW's doing a lot of great things. They're really on the ball. They're really stepping it up. And yeah, they've had a couple of fumbles here and there.
I definitely
that's
agree
part
with
of
that.
wrestling. That's going to be part of wrestling.
And as a growing business, you're going to have mistakes made. But it seems like they learn from their mistakes. And they adapt a little bit to make it better as they go.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon isn't capable of that.
No, not anymore.
He is stuck with what he knows, what he's been doing for,
30
since
years.
dinosaurs walked the earth. And it's just stale.
And it's sad because that's not always what Vince was. For a long time, Vince was the innovator. For a long time, Vince was the dude. But again,
he's just lost touch with reality.
I don't even know if it goes to that. I don't want to say that Vince has lost touch with reality or with the wrestling fan.
It's too much time being the dictator. It's too much time deciding everything.
WWE has gotten too big for its own good. Like I said,
they
are
absolutely
so much of an entity so that he has to control each and every little thing.
That's what it is.
When
if he would put other people in charge of different aspects of their media company, which is what they are, then it would be easier.
When you have so much, and you control it to the degree that they do, it gets stagnant and it gets stale. Yeah. And it does not breed a ground for creativity like you have backstage at AEW right now. Because backstage at AEW, Tony Khan, he calls all the shots. He's the final dude. He's the guy who owns it. He's the president, the owner of AEW. He's of the Khan family. It's the same family who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. They also own a soccer stadium and a soccer team. So the money's there to support AEW. Was there for the first year and a half, 2 years while they established themselves and became a profitable business. Yeah. And they know entertainment. The Khans know entertainment. Tony Khan grew up in entertainment. He grew up as a wrestling fan. He had the money to freak out and go to every wrestling show that he ever wanted to. And I think that right there is what it all boils down to at the bottom of it. The difference in why AEW is doing so good and why WWE is being a little stale.
Freedom.
WWE, yes, freedom. But
that's
my point that I was going towards was exactly. Tony Khan is a wrestling fan who
Yeah.
started a wrestling company and is putting on wrestling shows. He's a wrestling fan. Vince McMahon is an old school sports entertainer. He is not. He's a sports entertainer,
and I get what
and an
he
old
meant
school
by
guy.
that.
Like he's still an old school guy. You got to remember,
Oh,
Vince
yeah,
was
an
there.
old school guy.
He was right there.
Oh,
he was the
absolutely.
one who made it so that there's not territories now. Like Vince is the one who changed the game. So you can't take away from what he's done, but I think he painted himself into this corner where he has this WWE, this juggernaut of media and content creation. And they have the brand. And their brand is so powerful and so over-consuming that it stifles any creativity that tries to spring up in that place.
Yeah. I can see. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
That because of it's a
agree with
media
that.
company that they don't let wrestlers or want wrestlers to do certain things, or they don't want them to give them the freedom because they have other things with their media planned. It's a smart idea in theory, and he built it that way. But times change. You got to adapt with the times. Just like that's why it's so I think weird to me that Vince and the WWE are struggling so bad because his entire career has been spent innovating the wrestling was to find what's next.
No, you're absolutely
That's
right.
what he's done throughout his whole career with the WWE was getting his pulse on
But it
what is
wasn't-
next, what's the next most
It
popular
wasn't
thing.
always just him, though. There was always
Yeah.
the people around him that were innovating and that were building the character. Stone Cold Steve Austin was as much building that character as Vince McMahon was, as much as Vince Russo was. I hate Vince Russo. He's kind of he's the wrestling world's annoying little cousin, but he also had a lot of really great ideas when Vince was there to filter the bad ones out.
Yeah, to filter the bad ones out because because if you want to know what that looked like when he didn't have a
watch
filter,
when he
watch
went
the
to
end of WCW and watch it go into the ground.
There's a reason WCW failed as
Yes, and
gracefully
it
as
was Vince
did.
Russo. He drove it into the ground.
But Vince doesn't have that anymore. It's him and Bruce Pritchard. That's it.
Yeah, but it's not just them. He has an entire company and roster of personnel that work for him that he could begin handing things over to, or at least getting fresh ideas from some of these people. But he's not. That's on him.
We
That's
saw
not,
what happened when fresh
not
ideas
just-
came in. NXT is fresh. NXT was the fresh idea, and now look where it's at.
That's what I'm saying, though. Exactly. But as soon as
They don't
as
even have
soon
a
as,
show anymore.
yeah. Oh, did they close? Did they
Oh
completely
yeah,
shut it all the way
USC.
down?
They're not on USA Network anymore.
See, that's
Straight
bad
up.
for
Yeah, they're back to
WWE,
being a
so
developmental thing.
I don't even know that they're gonna lose their USA deal. I would expect soon, or when it comes up, and
Probably.
then the company's gonna be worth half of what it is. They
Vince
do
is
have
getting
so
ready
much
to sell.
content.
Yeah,
They do have
Vince-
a lot of content.
Vince
That's
is
the
getting
value
ready
of the
to
business.
sell.
But-
That's it.
He's either going to
Yeah,
sell to
but-
Peacock, he's either going to wait till the Peacock deal is up, and then he's going to sell to Disney, or he's just going to sell to Peacock, or he'll sell to Amazon.
He'll sell to whoever offers him the most money.
Yes, that's exactly
And
what he'll do.
Disney would love it because Disney's buying up everything. Amazon could use it because that would be a great buff to Amazon Prime. Oh, have the WWE
Yeah.
Network and Amazon Prime. Oh, by the way, Amazon Prime membership's going up to $15.
Or they could just take the whole thing and just make it their own station, just like they do with the other things that Amazon owns. They have their own stations that you can.
It's the library of content for the last 100 fucking years of pro
That
wrestling.
would be smart on Amazon's
Yeah.
part.
There's a big chunk there, and I think the only way that my brain can wrap itself around all of the slate of releases recently, well, how you let a William Regal, how you let a Samoa Joe, how you let an entire.
But you would think those people would add value to the company. So
I mean, not if their contracts are weighing it down. If their contracts, I mean, that's all value that's got to be taken in when they're at the CEO board talking about whose checks go where and what goes what.
Yeah.
That's all extra money. That's all That's all bloated fat around the company. You slim it down and then you sell it for what it's worth. Because they're just going to do it
WWE
anyway.
Network, that's what it's worth.
When Disney or Amazon or whoever comes in and buys it, they're going to do that anyway. So you do it before them, that increases the value of the company.
Yeah,
in
you're
their
probably
eyes.
right.
They don't got to come in and be the bad evil corporation firing everybody because Vince already did it all.
yeah. Hopefully we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the history of the WWE and everything that they own. The AEW is good. They are the relics of what I like to call the WCW, but not the front office. They have a good front office now. They just have the wrestling. And they're not. And they're not afraid to reference something, even in the WWE. They're not afraid of that. They work with other companies. AEW's got the right formula, and right now they have all of the talent. All of the talent.
So much good
The only thing WWE has left is its staple superstars. That's it. And even them, they're losing some of them. AEW Sting now wrestling in the AEW. Tully
the-
Blanchard, Arn
The
Anderson.
last
Jake the
Survivor
Snake.
series, the last Survivor series was dedicated to The Rock, and The Rock didn't even show up.
And The Rock didn't even show up because he's done with it too. That's why he retired. That's why he's
The Rock-
not on any of our
The
lists.
Rock sent a video package to Ring of Honor when they inducted him into the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. So The Rock has done more lately for Ring of Honor than he did for WWE.
Yeah. And
Kind of
also,
funny, huh?
Yeah, and also, well, I mean, I like The Rock. I think he's a good actor, and he was great in wrestling. But he left wrestling, so he's not a wrestler anymore. And now he's taking every movie job that'll just pay him. So, with that,
The next Nick Cage.
yes,
Watching The Rock
what
turn
we
down
need.
a role.
More Nick Cage.
Hey.
We need so much more Nick Cage.
Hey man, did you
That's
see that one where he
Louisiana about
fights?
Nick Cage.
Did you see
Yeah.
that one where he fights the
That could be a whole
the evil Chuck E.
conversation on
Cheese
its own.
robots? The
No,
one where he fights. Oh, that's a good
All right,
one.
and on that note,
Oh,
we're gonna
that's
move
a-
on.
that's a
We're
good
going
one.
to close out here.
He drinks
this
energy
is-
drinks.
Yeah, this is
and
the inaugural
fights
episode. You should look for
Chuck E. Cheese
for-
robots.
for the kickoff for the Olympic episode. Yeah, as chaotic as that is.
Chaos.
So look for that.
Chaos.
Mayhem is an appropriate name.
Yes,
So
share
appropriate.
Share the episodes out if you enjoyed them. And
Listen, I think we
leave
should
us
just
a comment.
rebrand as a comedy podcast.
Yeah. No
No.
one's no. Because
No?
we'll see how many people enjoy the first episode before we make any changes to the podcast.
Or the second episode.
Yes, because the second episode is also a little bit wild. We had a little bit of a wild episode. They'll get more controlled. Brand new podcast. We're still figuring out the flow and everything and how it goes.
I wouldn't bet money on that.
Well, we'll see how it goes. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a work in progress. It's going
I
to be the
love
entertainment
the
side.
mayhem.
We're going to cover all of the entertainment. Okay, TV, movies, sports, Olympics. Did I miss anything else?
anything entertainment.
Comic books,
related.
video
Yeah.
games.
Yeah,
You get a
anything-
good video game drop we're playing.
Yeah. That's going to be. It's going to be all on the MaYHeM Media side. Facebook.com/MaYHeM Media. We are going to also be on YouTube and Rumble. You can search for us. I'm looking for my closing notes that I seem to have misplaced. But we are on YouTube. We're on YouTube, Rumble. I can't find it. We're on YouTube and Rumble. That's where you can find our content, and on Facebook. So look for us there. MaYHeM Media or MaYHeM Original is the name of the podcast.
Look for the links in the description.
Yep, look for the links in the description. That's where all the links are, including our bibliography of how we put some of the information together that we used. We have accurate information here, so look, that's all going to be in the description. Marcus Fredrickson does the music. He's going to play us out. Co-host, Master of Merc,
This has been a MaYHeM Media production.
Senior Sports Correspondent, Ms. Pa. I'm your host, JD, and that's the end.